Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Had a whole bunch of people send me this story because it's good news regarding civil asset forfeiture. This thing's happening one battle at a time. I've got several different sources here with information. I'm going to go over them because they've each got some different angle to it. But first, from news3lv.com, Nevada court blocks police from using federal loophole for civil forfeiture. In a landmark decision for property rights, a county judge ruled that Nevada law enforcement cannot exploit a federal program to circumvent state laws designed to protect property owners. The ruling effectively closes what the Nevada Highway Patrol had argued was a legal loophole, allowing them to seize property under state law, process it in conjunction with the feds, and then get to keep 80% of the proceeds, but say, hey, look, it wasn't us you got to talk to. Go talk to the feds. So Ben Field, an attorney for the Institute for Justice, who's heavily involved in this is a groundbreaking decision that closes the door on law enforcement agencies trying to evade their own state laws for profit. The court recognized that Nevada's civil forfeiture laws are clear. State police cannot outsource forfeitures to the federal government to make extra money. Here, the case stemmed from the 2021 seizure of retired Marine Steven Lara's life savings during a traffic stop on I-80 just east of Sparks. Troopers with the Nevada Highway Patrol said Lara was following a semi-truck too closely when they stopped him. Despite no evidence of any crime, and he was never charged with any crime, the Highway Patrol transferred his money to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, bypassing Nevada's stricter forfeiture protections. Lara fought for months to reclaim his money, hoping to highlight how police used the federal program to sidestep state laws requiring higher proof for property seizure and quicker judicial review. So to clarify this, civil asset forfeiture, we've talked about it many, many times, is the idea that the police encounter you, see that you're carrying cash, and they go, oh, we think you're up to no good. And they take the cash from you. And you, hey, it's my money. They go, well, the problem is that you're going to do something wrong with the money, or the money is the product of a crime. If you want it back, sue us. So they put the burden on you to sue them to get your money back. And now this happens at the state level, but the federal government also is involved in this as well. And so some states started passing laws saying, hey, look, we're going to stop doing this. We're going to dial it back or whatever. And so what became a little thing they could do is they would go to the feds, the law enforcement, local people would, and say, hey, look, if we seize money and we make the allegation that it's involved in some kind of drug activity, can we give it to the DEA and then they will process it and then give some of it back to us? And they'd give back 80% of it. So the feds got 20% for doing what? Well, because in essence, I'm going to use the phrase money laundering. What they're doing is the local police would have the money, and by giving it to the feds and the feds giving it back, when the local people got the money, they go, well, look, we got it from the feds. Yeah, but didn't you earlier take it from that guy by the side of the road? Yeah, but we turned it over to the feds to see what they wanted to do with it. Turns out they wanted to give 80% of it back to us. Okay, so the court emphasized that Nevada's forfeiture laws are more protective than federal laws, stating a review of the forfeiture schemes of Nevada law and federal law demonstrate that Nevada has more stringent requirements governing forfeiture proceedings. The court concluded that Nevada's civil forfeiture laws are mandatory, leaving no room for federal workarounds. It ruled that the NHP's participation in the federal program violated state law, noting while federal law clearly provides Nevada the option to participate in the federal equitable sharing program, Nevada's legislature has yet to accept this offer. So the lawmakers make laws. The people in the states need to follow those laws. This decision has significant implications for property owners across Nevada, clarifying that law enforcement cannot use federal programs to bypass state law protections. And of course, this involves people passing through Nevada as well. Lara's legal battle continues as he seeks damages and pursues additional claims under the Nevada Constitution. The state is expected to challenge the ruling. Good. Take it up higher and make better law. Because right now, this is a lower court ruling. If you take it up to the Court of Appeals or a state Supreme Court or wherever you go next, and they rule the same way, guess what? It's going to cover more of the area. Law enforcement has no business profiting from civil forfeiture, said Brian Morris from the IJ. This decision is a wake-up call to other states that have allowed police to skirt their laws by pretending that the federal government's equitable sharing program is a legal loophole. It is not. It's time to close these loopholes once and for all. TV stations reached out to Nevada Highway Patrol to see if they'd comment. They did not. I'm going to let you know right now that I got an email yesterday from Steven Lara. Steven Lara is the man at the center of this particular case. I met him at an Institute for Justice retreat a little over a year ago. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Hung out with him for a while, talked to him for a while, got my picture taken with him. Even one night sat next to him for dinner. And I was just impressed with what a great guy he is. And I had to keep reminding myself, and this is the guy who had his money stolen at the side of the road by the police. And now a court has said what the police did was wrong. And yeah, he got his money back, but there's still a legal action going on. So in case you're curious, some people are going to say, but Steve, his money was taken from him. He eventually got it back. Why is he still suing? Well, among other things, if someone steals from you and you catch them, they don't just go, oh, here's your stuff back. And I guess you can't do anything about it now. And so you can still pursue your legal claims in an attempt to, if nothing else, try to keep it from happening again. So I got a note also from Scott Bullock at the Institute for Justice, as well as the email from Steven Lara. And Scott's note says, Steve, we've been bogged down with snow and ice this week at IJ's HQ, but at the close of this frozen week, we have some outstanding news. As you might recall, we represent Marine veteran Steven Lara, who was driving to visit his daughters in California when the Nevada Highway Patrol pulled him over and seized his entire life savings, despite never alleging he'd done anything illegal. And by the way, the reason they pulled him over was bogus. They go, you were following too closely behind that other vehicle. Never ticketed him for that, though. But here's the interesting thing. He's driving through Nevada with out-of-state plates. That's really why they pulled him over. Now, they haven't said that, but come on. Everyone knows that. A day after the video on the case went viral and Steven's story landed on the front page of the Washington Post, the government agreed to return his money. But our case against Nevada's forfeiture scheme continues. And so here's the point. I've talked before about how somebody's got a problem with some big corporation or some big business. They can't get anybody to do the right thing. They contact a local TV station. TV station's got a consumer reporter who starts interviewing people and preparing a story. When somebody goes, oh, wait, this is going to be on the news? Maybe we should take care of this person, okay? That often does happen with consumers and things like automobile warranties and so on. But here you've got a situation where the guy's driving cross country, he's cutting through Nevada, he's got his life savings on him, gets pulled over for an alleged traffic infraction. It's not even that big of a deal. And they take his money from him. And by the way, if you watch the body cam footage, it's out there. He's polite through the whole thing, going yes sir, no sir, as they ask him questions, because the guy's a veteran, okay? So they take his money from him. He contacts the Institute for Justice. And next thing you know, the story is covered by the news and front page Washington Post. And they go, oh, here's your money back. Here's your money back. Now, the crazy part is that what changed from when they took his money to when they gave it back? News coverage. Now, I excuse the pun, but I got news for you. If you're doing what's right, news coverage shouldn't make you reverse course. When you change your behavior because people are watching, oh, someone might see me do this, I better stop. That's a problem. That's what we call a wake-up call. You should ask yourself, you should look in the mirror, figuratively speaking. You should look in the mirror and ask yourself why you behave differently when people watch you. And so if you do something such as take a man's life savings from him at the side of the road, and you think you're doing the right thing, but it winds up on the front page of the paper, so you quickly give him his money back. Really? Really? Okay. I'm just pointing it out. I could be completely wrong. So one of the major challenges with trying to change civil forfeiture laws is that even if a state reforms its own laws, like Nevada did, state agencies often do the end around by going to the feds with equitable sharing, which lets them give the forfeiture to an agency in exchange for a kickback of some of the money, and oftentimes it's up to 80%. So the court ruled that this is ultra vires, which is a fancy Latin term for when government acts without legal authority, for state law enforcement to circumvent state forfeiture law by using federal equitable sharing. And here's the kicker. And again, this was in the other story as well. With federal law clearly providing Nevada the option to participate in the federal equitable sharing program, Nevada's legislature has yet to accept the offer. Without such an acceptance, NHP is unable to participate, as doing so effectively requires the NHP to ignore Nevada's delineated forfeiture scheme. So NHP is required to utilize the appropriate means, Nevada's forfeiture scheme, to reach its desired ends. In other words, state law enforcement must follow state law. And Scott put in here a parenthetical and wrote, what a concept. Again, state law enforcement must follow state law. And a lot of people, I remember going back to the very first few videos I did on civil asset forfeiture, where people are saying, wait, Steve, this looks to me like the police are robbing people. That's what it looks like. You're driving along, you got cash on you, you get pulled over, and not accused of a crime, traffic infraction, and they discover you got cash on you for whatever reason, and they go, give us the cash, and they take the cash. And so, say an hour later, you're driving down the road with no money. The police have got your cash. You want your cash back? Go sue them. If you win, pay for your own attorney fees, and you might get your money back a year or two down the road. And so this is the kind of thing that I have yet to meet anybody who says, Steve, I disagree with you entirely. Civil asset forfeiture is right, and if you have cash on you, the police should be allowed to have it. I've yet to meet anybody who says that. Now, occasionally, I've met people who say, but Steve, why would somebody be driving around with that much cash on them? If they have, like, say, $50,000 or $87,000 or whatever it might be. Why? Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a law that forbids it? Don't get me wrong. It might not be the smartest idea. I don't ever get big wads of cash, stick in my pocket, and go walk around downtown in cities where I don't know anybody. I don't do that, right? But there are situations, and we've talked about some of them before. Somebody's going to buy a vehicle from a stranger, and the stranger has said, I ain't taking a personal check. And no, I'm not going to accept a money order because I don't know if that thing's any good. Printers can print out really good-looking certified checks. I want cash. You want to buy that thing from me? It's going to be cash. So if it costs a lot of money, you got to bring a lot of cash. Now, again, it might be one of those situations where you might not be comfortable doing it, but what else are you going to do? So you go there to buy the thing, and if everything went well, you'd give the guy the cash, he'd give you the title and a receipt and the keys, and you drive the piece of equipment off. Perfectly legal. And by the way, keep in mind, it is perfectly legal to travel within the United States with cash. There are laws that govern cash going over the border, cash leaving the country, or cash coming into the country. And you have to disclose it, but it's not illegal. Okay? So the idea that you're traveling domestically, as we say, with cash is not illegal. And again, for those of you who just got here and don't understand why this is happening, the money that's raised by the police often gets to be kept and used by the department that snagged it. So you hear stories about police departments that have done so much civil asset forfeiture that they've run out of things to spend it on. They buy Super Bowl tickets. They buy commemorative gold-plated badges. They buy all kinds of up-armored equipment. They buy daiquiri makers and popcorn makers. Seriously. And you wonder why some small town in the middle of nowhere has got all kinds of money for the police department. That's it. And it's basically a tax on people who carry cash through their jurisdiction. So, again, law enforcement must follow state law. Now, given that participation in the equitable sharing program, and by the way, that's a euphemism, equitable sharing program. Like I said, I'd rather call it money laundering. But considering it's such a cash cow for law enforcement, we wouldn't be surprised if the state goes directly to the Nevada Supreme Court to try to overturn the result. Needless to say, IG will be there to defend this victory and then to build upon it in other states. that routinely evade state law to launder property through the federal program. And they are also pursuing other claims in this case. So this case is still going, and the IJ is handling it. And so that's that. So Scott says we will keep you posted on the next steps. For now, thank you so much for your support that makes wins like today's possible. So keep in mind that Steven Lara did everything right. He served his country in the Marines for 16 years. 16 years. He did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he's devoted to his 2 daughters, and he's been saving to buy a house so that they can all live together. His plans came crashing down when the Nevada Highway Patrol seized his life savings, and here we are today. So a court in Nevada has said, hey, guess what? What you guys, referring to the Highway Patrol, what you guys are doing is illegal. Can't do it. And in this case in particular, it shouldn't have happened. So this case can proceed. But I do have to tell you, the Institute for Justice does great work. Most people could not afford to litigate a case like this because it cost more than it'd be worth to get the money back, except as a matter of principle. The Institute for Justice is a nonprofit organization that is supported by the generosity of people who believe in what they're doing, such as me and people in my audience. And so I always tell you in a video where I mention them, I'll put a link to them in the description below this video. Even if you don't want to support them financially, go check out their website, go read the full story here, check out other stories they're handling, and just bookmark it. And just follow what they do. They're doing great work. They're helping out people. One of the things that distinguishes them from other entities, and I try to tell people this, is that if I handle a case for a client and I help resolve a problem for them, that resolves a problem for one client, okay? When the Institute for Justice takes a case like this that is similar to something that's happened to many, many people in that state and other states, okay? When they take the case and they win it, right now, it helps their client, Steven Lara. He's been helped. If the Highway Patrol and the state appeal this ruling and it goes up, then that's where you make law. And if they make law on this, they're going to make law that addresses everyone in that state. Their goal is not just to help out this one person, but is to do what they can to fix the law, or in this case, get rid of this concept, civil asset forfeiture. It's something that has gotten so far out of control, it needs to be abolished. So if you can, support the Institute for Justice. But in the meanwhile, a Nevada court has ruled that the Highway Patrol in Nevada did not follow the law when they took Steven Lara's money from him, passed it to the feds in an attempt to keep it away from him, and then later on they did give it back to him, but only because the Washington Post shined a very bright light on them. And they realized, oh, this doesn't look good. Maybe we should back off on this one. So there you go. Thanks to everybody who sent it to me. The story came from news3lv.com and elsewhere. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. I've learned 2 very important lessons in my life. I don't remember the first one, and the second one is to write everything down.